Greetings and salutations, folks, and welcome back to Mass Effect 2, and also Project Overlord, which was a terrible idea to begin with. It's a flawed experiment that not only is stupid on paper, but the people who try to do it are stupid for their even attempt. Their basic understanding, their basic concept for Project Overlord, stems from the idea that, the Geth looked up to Saren. They looked up to Saren as a leader, and they wanted to replicate that image of Saren.
Commander, you need to find Vulcan and Prometheus stations and override the lockdown from each facility. Doesn't matter which one you hit first, but you can't enter Atlas Station until you've dealt with both. Also, keep an eye out for Cerberus security megs. The VI has likely taken control of them. Archer out.
Well, luckily, I've got a sweet ride with lots of rockets. They have no real understanding as to how...
An aesthetically pleasing view nearby. Organic life forms may wish to take note.
It is quite aesthetically pleasing. The reason why Saren was the leader of the Geth wasn't because of something he did, or anything really about him. It's because he had been indoctrinated by Sovereign. They didn't follow Saren because he was Saren. They followed Saren because he was not. So the fact that they were trying to create this kind of central figure for the Geth to follow is already problematic, because it was based on false ideology. Doesn't even go into the idea that they're oh, we should shove some VI technology into somebody's brain and hope for the best. And for some reason, we've got Geth on site too, for the same purpose. The expectation that if we just shove some VI tech in somebody's brain, the Geth will be wow, this guy's part man, part machine. He's so cool. But the basic concept, the thing they were trying to prove is already poor. Who did I choose last time? I think I chose Morden and Miranda, so now I'm going to choose Miranda and Jacob. So, assuming that what you want to do... Ooh, I can upgrade that. Do I want to increase Jacob's health? Interesting. When you upgrade Miranda's section, it affects the whole squad. But Jacob is only for himself. So I will have him be slightly healthier. And let us proceed. So yeah, let's say you've got this plan, and let's say for some reason the Geth did follow Saren because he was this part machine, part man creation. Because by the time you meet him, he's definitely not the Turian that he used to be.
Commander, this is Archer. I advise extreme caution. Vulcan Station is our geothermal plant. They stopped reporting it shortly after the experiment.
Scanning area. Analysis. VI infection is present within plant machinery. Advise caution.
What are you doing here, hacker? So yeah, let's say that regardless of the inclusion of machinery, that the Geth did look up to Saren as an individual. And yep.
Scanning area. Analysis.
Why would the inclusion of a VI increase their chances? Where am I? Do I have to be on top of that? Why is it hard to get hit this time? There we go. So in that case, it can then be said, what Like, was there any analysis that was done by the scientists to determine what Saren did differently from anybody else? Because it's like the, oh, hello. Ah, nope. Son of a... Got some iridium. So, because it's like the Geth had attempted... sorry, not the Geth. The, Quarians had attempted to lead the Geth before, and the Geth had split off. Ooh.
Provides adequate support for vehicle.
I think this is what I remembered from... Like, it wasn't the Firewalker that I remembered as DLC. I was remembering Project Overlord and the fire hopping. So the Quarian people attempted to lead the Geth and failed. So in theory,
Is inadequate to clear the wall ahead.
So basically you're saying I need to get out on foot and explore on foot. So the Quarian people try to lead, and they have a perfect, essentially, laboratory experiment setup where you can be like, okay, what did they do wrong? And what did Saren do right?
Warning. Automated controls are offline. Core systems have been compromised.
But I don't believe they actually did any research into that. Oh, hello. Take this. Although, like, I get the impression that, like, not only did these scientists with Project Overlord not do any research, they also didn't bother, like, questioning, like, their motive. They just kind of like, oh, this kind of sort of makes sense with it. Let's just carry this onward.
Engineer's log. We've registered a huge spike in energy consumption. My technicians traced it to the experiment underway at Atlas Station. We're trying to raise them now.
Warning. Pressure levels in valve A3.
Oh, I have to do this.
Manual control is required.
Ground. Resistor. Closed captioning and gate.
Venting outflow successful.
Truly the most Mass Effect of gameplay ideals. You turn on a machine and it allows you to jump higher. Ooh. Can I go this way? No, I cannot. Also, okay, I'm not going to access that research anymore. As of the... Am I speaking to the... Is that the VI by himself, or is that the VI inside David's brain? Does David still exist, should I say? Does the VI have the capacity for language? It does not seem to be speaking in words. Okay, let's find this thing I'm supposed to hop on. So, like, in conclusion, every single aspect of this science experiment was done incorrectly. The basic theory is poor. The practice was poor. The experiment was poor. It was done by a bunch of people who spent their time wondering whether or not they could. They never bother asking whether they should. Ah, nope, nope, nope. Don't want to melt. This is cool, though. Ah, nope, yeah. There we go. Nope, that is not an enemy. That is a jettison of air. And that'll probably, yep, that leads me to more or whatever to acquire really easily. More iridium. Okay. Now what could they have done differently to, like, the basic goal of the project was to see about controlling the Geth. Or should I say leading the Geth. The basic goal of the project was very similar to Jurassic Park. Oh no. Alright, let's heal up. This does... Actually, the Mako didn't really take that many shots either, so... like in Jurassic Park, not Fallen Kingdom, I guess Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom, the basic gist of it is, like, there are people who are trying to take dinosaurs and use them as weapons. They're like, we need to be able to control the dinosaurs and send them into caves, take out terrorists. Which is somewhat similar to what these scientists are trying to do. They're like, hey, why don't we control these Geth machines, and use them to fight our wars for us? Because if they're fighting our wars for us, that's fewer casualties on our side. They didn't question the idea that they would have to spend a lot of time installing VIs into various people's brains, and that maybe some people won't want a VI installed into their brain. But that, again, I'm digressing back to like why their experiment sucked and was terrible. So yeah, like they're more or less imitating, or should I say, Jurassic World more or less imitates them, because Jurassic World came second.
Levels in valve D4 have exceeded maximum threshold. Manual control is required.
I'm guessing I have to blow that up. Ooh, interesting. So that actually is the way forward. So the problem starts with, that can be fixed, starts with, like, what is the purpose of the science? And the purpose of the science, let's see, ground, resistor, there's closed captioning on the right. Interesting. Is not to understand, it is to create a product. Now, if it was to try to understand the Geth for the purposes of controlling the Geth, like, rather than to create this conceptual visionary leader, maybe, like, how about that? Let me rephrase that. The science isn't there to create a physical product, or to... The science is there to create, like, a concept, a subjective construct of this leader, rather than an objective understanding. Oh, I could have done that and gotten rid of them. Whoops. So there's that. Like, oh, hello. Hold on a second. I'm just fighting some dudes.
Friendly fire!
And I'm almost out of ammo, so I should probably change my gun. Take you out.
My shields are dead.
And you. Excellent. So let's say let's modify their experiment. Instead of them trying to create some sort of visionary leader to lead the Geth so that they could win wars, something to replicate Saren, instead look into the past and say, okay, we're going to try to do what the Quarians couldn't do, and that is control the Geth. If we control the Geth, that not only can help the Quarians reestablish themselves on a planet, prevent them from migrating throughout the facility, or should I say, not facility, I'm running in a facility right now, migrating around the galaxy in a flotilla. Let's see, do I go right? Okay. But it would also help deal with this danger. So focus more on benefits that would help civilization more than how we can fight wars better.
Received an SOS from Atlas Station. Archer has declared a project emergency. We're trying to shut down the power generators to start the VI, but it's already hacked our automated systems. I'm ordering my people to sabotage the plant any way they can.
And by civilization, I would also argue that they're helping out humanity in the process, and that was the goal of Cerberus to begin with, is to help out humanity. The goal of Cerberus is not to take over alien robots, to use them in wars. It's to promote the existence of humanity. Oh, hello. There we go. I should probably take cover. Ah, there's a big guy.
Got him.
How are you doing, big guy? I should probably switch to the sniper rifle. This guy's shields are taking a lot. Okay. Now that the shields are gone.
Night-night.
There we go. Okay, looks like I've got ammo for the Locust again. So yeah, start off that experiment not with trying to create this subjective construct, but by creating this objective construct. Then the next step would be to research the history of the Geth. You don't even need live Geth at this point. There's ground, close, captioning, and gate. And because besides, you've got lots and lots of available research data. Huh. What, did the VI just stop controlling him? and then run off.
Atlas station lockdown accepted.
Excellent.
Are you receiving this? Commander Shepard, this is Dr. Archer. Please respond.
I hear you, Doctor. We've hit the override at Vulcan Station and are moving on. Shepard out.
Oh, by the way, I missed that Renegade prompt because I wasn't paying attention. Damn you, Mountain Dew. Damn you. Successfully issued override command from Vulcan Station. Alright, I guess this game considers each station to be its own individual quest. That's interesting. So yeah, you'd go through the history of how the Geth came to be. You would study the Geth. From there, you would have to construct various laboratories that would keep the Geth contained. Because eventually you would want live Geth.
Commander, that was a daring piece of work. Vulcan Station was a success. You still need to go to Prometheus Station and override the lockdown from there. Good luck.
Now, you probably wouldn't jump straight to live Geth. You would probably first start off with a dead Geth.
Geographic conditions indicate an aesthetically pleasing view nearby. Organic life forms may wish to take note.
That's very nice, thank you. You'd probably start off with dead Geth. And then examine them in isolated areas. You'd probably want to see how the Geth... You'd probably want to figure out some way how the Geth network to each other, so that you can have multiple Geth on site without them doing just that. Like, so that you can even contain them in rooms next to each other. But still contained. But anyway, so you'd first be looking at dead Geth. You would take them apart and start looking as to what you would looking at their parts. Where is this turret? Oh, hello. That turret is in a very inconvenient spot. Or a very convenient spot, because I can just jump up a bunch of times and blow it up. Alright. Is there any reason for me to be here? The answer is no. Okay. So yeah, you would start off with dead Geth, break them apart, look at their components, see how the components are connected together. Maybe even try to reverse engineer these components. Depending on the success of that, might also affect what you do next. But the next part would then be to bring in live Geth individually, separate from a whole. Examine how they work together. Okay, that goes nowhere. I wonder if this is Atlas Station. Oh, hello. What are you?
An emergency Cerberus data packet has been recovered. It contains information on Project Overlord that other research cells need to review. Be alert for more packets in the area. 5 more remain.
Great. Sounds like a great time. Everybody will have fun collecting these packets of information.
Analysis. Defenseless herbivores are no match for guided missiles.
You know, I would have thought the other way around, but since you said it that way, like, it makes sense. in a way that I did not previously understand. So then you'd bring in live Geth. And examine how they're connected to each other. And then using localized systems that are not networked to anything beyond those localized systems, analyze, see if you could pair a computer with the Geth, so that the Geth would consider that other if you can pair a VI with the Geth, so that the Geth thinks that that other VI is one of itself. Let's bring Jacob and Kasumi. Let's make her more of a master thief. So, with that controlled situation, you could then be like, okay, how do the Geth speak to each other? And can I create something that speaks to the Geth via said VI? Because you don't need a human brain.
Is a crashed Geth ship full of dormant machines used in our experiment. Our people there have gone silent. It's likely the VI has activated the defense shields to keep you out. Good luck.
Okay. So it appears as though there is another problem with their experiment that I was not able to discover.
Analysis. Generators are providing power for main shield. Warning, the VI infection has assumed control of the Geth cannon. Warning, we are being targeted.
You know, I was wondering whether or not the Geth cannon would hit beyond the shield, but it appears what I have to do is make the Geth cannon destroy its own shield generators. That would have been good to know. Okay, so
Commander Shepard,
my
Prometheus
previous
station is a
assumption...
crashed Geth ship full of dormant machines used in our experiment.
Scanning area. Analysis. Generators are providing power for main shield. Warning, the VI infection has assumed control of the Geth cannon. Warning, we are being targeted.
You know, I thought I was out of the area, but I guess I probably should just go to the other side of town. My assumption was that the Geth were just brought in individually from, like, scouting missions to other planets, from other expeditions, but the fact that they have a crashed Geth ship here, it makes me
Commander
think
Shepard,
that,
Prometheus station is a crashed Geth ship full of dormant machines used in our
Scanning area. Analysis. Generators are providing power for main shield. Warning, the VI infection has assumed control of the Geth cannon.
Alright, now aim at me, and then I'll run away.
We are being targeted.
And then I'll grab this.
Warning, Geth cannon is locking on our location.
Now take out this guy.
Recommend evasive maneuvers.
Oh, so that's kind of unexpected. The cannon is strong enough to blow up the shields that surround it, but not strong enough to actually blow up the generator within it as well. Alright, let's have him target this, and then we're going to go to the other side of the area.
Warning, Geth cannon is locking on our location.
Oh? Did I fire a shot?
Recommend evasive maneuvers. Shields disabled. You may now target the Geth cannon. Warning, we
So it looks as though this laboratory facility was actually, like, they found the downed Geth ship.
Threats detected. Entry into the ship is now clear.
And then they built the lab around it, rather than bring the Geth to the lab, which by itself is very problematic. Largely because the Geth are aware of the downed ship area, which would be problematic maybe if the Geth ever decided, hey, we're gonna look for this ship that went missing. And then 2,
Attention visitors. This server's facility contains hazardous AI technology. You agree to assume all liability for personal injuries or death that may occur during your visit. Thank you.
you will probably die working in this facility, but it's for the greater good.
Gas for the experiment, and I hope this means a breakthrough is close.
But it's like in the James Bond movie, which one was it? You Only Live Twice, where Blofeld builds his base inside a volcano. Sure, building your evil lair inside a volcano is cool and all. In fact, one can say that building your base inside a volcano is the hot thing to do. But but it's like you're not really thinking that far ahead. Your dormant volcano may eventually erupt. Your Geth that are deactivated may reactivate. Huh. It's not quite as unintelligible as it used to be. They almost kind of sounded like words there.
Lanigan just ran a simulation. If these Geth ever wake up, there's a 98% chance we'll be dead within 2 minutes. I'm starting to hate Lanigan.
Yeah, it appears that even these scientists, I guess the scientists working inside the Geth ship, have a clear understanding of the danger that they're in. Okay, so it wants me to go right, so I will explore left. So, I guess that just chalks up another...
Halloween was yesterday. Lanigan ran around wearing spare Geth parts. Spooked the shit out of everyone. Now I definitely hate him.
Yeah, I would be freaked out too, because you're like, hey, you're sitting on a ticking time bomb. You dressed up as Halloween as the bomb. It seems like I'm being guided somewhere.
Everything's off wire. Archer declared a lockdown, but our station's already infected. What does the VI want? It keeps screaming at us. Nobody understands.
It wants freedom, absolution. Although it's kind of interesting that this area is meant more towards building up atmosphere, rather than have you fight a whole bunch of Geth. But I suppose that would just be kind of like a repeat of what we just did in the previous facility.
It's like it's hurting us. At least the Geth are still dormant.
So it treated the researchers in the same way that it's treating me right now. But I forget where they actually were herded towards. Although you could almost say that's kind of gameplay, that's level design in itself.
Cerberus personnel.
Like, consider any action game
Workplace stress.
where you're running along and there are the doors that are inaccessible and the doors that are accessible. Ultimately, it's the game designer that herds the player towards a location of some manner.
Analysis. The objective is located on the far side of this impasse.
Okay. Is this what I think it is? And then we'll switch to that one, we'll move it to the right one, and then we'll move it up one. Such a puzzle. Actually, it appears that there is a thing that I could maybe... that I could maybe interact with here. That way I don't necessarily jump the gun and finish the level. Yep, there's a med kit, there are power cells, and money. So I guess I could have gone without, but still. It's an easy thing to grab, so it would be an easy thing to miss. But yeah, going back to the experiment itself. So then you would figure out how the VI would speak to the Geth, and then you'd also then have to figure out exactly like whether you'd have to first get the VI to listen to the Geth, to get the Geth to speak to the VI. Then you'd have to figure out how to get the VI to speak back to the Geth, and then from there, let's see, that's orange on top, orange on top bottom with a lot of gaps, and white on top, downward angle, there we go. Alright, now that that's done, let's do this. Huh, do I have to fight my way out?
Override of Atlas Station lockdown accepted.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to fight my way out. The VI has decided to wake everybody up.
I knew this was too easy.
And then that first room I was in, which had the big guy.
Move.
Let's not use the flamethrower right from the beginning.
Hostile Geth activity detected. Armed response is authorized.
Why, thank you.
Reminds all personnel that this emergency is now classified information. Disclosure to outside parties is a violation of your confidentiality agreement.
Yes, tell the dead people that they can't break their non-disclosure form, their NDA.
Eyes ahead!
Oh, he's dead. There's one more guy that had a shield. Is he taken care of, I guess? Oh, hello.
Get over here.
Taking fire.
Oh, what are you doing? Jerk. That's like one step away from like, yippee-ki-yay, jerk. Doesn't quite have the same ring to it. So point blank with a rocket launcher, not that strong. Good to know.
In nodes 1 through 6.
Ah, nope. Yeah, although it's interesting. Like, in a sense, this experiment has more or less succeeded in what
They're through my shields!
What I was talking about in regards to what I would consider the successful way of dealing with this, in that they did acquire a VI that is able to speak to the Geth. They just don't control the VI, and the VI is installed into somebody's brain. What could they have done that would have prevented this while still kind of sticking to their experiment? Is installed said VI in a more controllable environment. I wish it would stop turning. Yeah, there we go. Damn you, Kasumi. I'm literally firing in that direction. Do you want to get shot? Also, I'm almost out of ammo with this. So let's switch up to the hand cannon. What is lab equipment? Where is this lab equipment that I can salvage and get extremely small amount of credits? Like those 375 credits by itself barely gets you fuel to move away from this planet.
Warning. Geth neural activity increasing. Please isolate machines immediately.
Yeah, this facility wasn't really built very well in regards to isolating machines. Also, some ammo, which is nice. And I believe there's some more ammo over here. Let's switch back to the Locust. Oh, hello. I've got to say, rocket projectiles in video games are generally more fun than just regular bullets, because you can see the path of the rocket and you can dodge them in such fashion. Whereas like bullets, you can't really. The most you can do is just take cover or stand out of the way. But having like a close call with the rocket is always a little bit more interesting, especially when you don't actually see the rocket get fired. And you're like, oh crap.
Nodes 20 through 35 are now active. Emergency action required.
Yeah, so it's clear though that regardless of the VI's intention,
Shields have failed.
the Cerberus crew either managed to do one of two things. Oh. They managed to either figure out how to activate the Geth themselves, or they managed to create a system that detects Geth activation. Oh, hello. It's a Geth Prime. And he's dead. Let's take out that guy, and then there's a rocket trooper over here. You know, I keep forgetting that I even have this stealth ability, that I even chose my class of Infiltrator for the purposes of having it. So that would be different from my previous playthroughs. But I feel as though like the stealth ability doesn't quite work with Mass Effect. Like, the battle system doesn't really make sense for stealth, especially when everything's... Or should I say with Mass Effect 2, because of how linear everything is. Like, if there were more open pathways where you could stealth around and then flank people, or if there was more stealth missions where you can choose between stealth or action, that would be more meaningful. Successfully issued override command from the Prometheus station, which means it's time to close in on Atlas. Settle this for good, and then proceed with the main game. I'm not entirely sure who I'm going to nab first. I'm somewhat tempted just to go nab Jack because I think her mission is a little bit more interesting. Whereas, like, Garrus is the more interesting character, but,
Commander, you've done it. The lockdown has been cancelled. You can now breach Atlas Station and end this nightmare. You'll need to find the main server room there to shut down the VI experiment. Good luck.
but his mission is basically just, fight wave after wave of bad guys. Let us go to Atlas, which I passed by earlier. And shut down David and the VI within his brain. Although, actually, in that case, you could also say that their creation was a complete success. Really. They wanted to create somebody like Saren. Saren is this... let's grab Kasumi and Zaid. He's this... oh, yeah. So he was this Turian who became controlled by Sovereign, and by the time that you finish the game, he's really almost no longer himself. He is more machine than Turian, who leads the Geth towards the destruction of the human race, and the galaxy as well. And you could argue the same thing for David.
Commander, good. I'm getting some troubling readings here, though. The VI is trying to upload its program directly from your location. Get to the server room and shut down the core before it can... Archer log 155.2. For years, my brother's condition has been a handicap. That changed today. His autistic mind is the breakthrough I've been looking for. He can communicate with the Geth. Such a tremendous grasp of mathematics. It seems serendipity is alive and well in the 22nd century.
Ah, the cliched autism storyline, in which the possession of autism allows one to have secret genius. Okay. Yeah, people didn't... Ooh. The Geth didn't even do so well over here, either. That is unexpected.
Archer log 157.8. Unless he sees results, the elusive man is shooting us down next week. I have no choice. I'm going to tap David directly into the Geth neural network and see if he can influence them. The danger should be negligible. David might even enjoy it.
The danger should be negligible? Okay, so maybe the people in charge were incredibly irresponsible. as well as stupid. Like, I'm just going to insert some parts into my brother's brain. And it's
Arriving at level 2.
it's almost questionable whether David even was aware of.
Arriving at level 4. Arriving at level 6. System malfunction. Arriving at level 2.
Huh. Okay.
Arriving at level 5. System malfunction. Resetting elevator.
Huh.
Arriving at level 2. Arriving at level 4. Arriving at level 6.
So I need to
System malfunction.
hit these buttons in the right order
Arriving at level 2.
in order to get this.
Resetting elevator. Resetting elevator.
So let's
Arriving
hit
at level
this
2.
one first. This one second.
Arriving at level 5.
This one third.
Arriving at level 2. Arriving at level 1. Resetting elevator. Arriving at level 2. Arriving at level 4.
It seems almost as though.
Arriving at level 3. Arriving at level 6.
Though there's a little bit of randomness.
Arriving at level 3. Arriving at basement level.
Oh,
Resetting elevator.
it's not what I want to hear.
Arriving at level 2.
Because, like, it seems that based on the
Arriving at level 1. Arriving at basement level. Resetting elevator.
Okay, so at level 2 that goes back down to 1 and then back down to
Level 2.
0.
Arriving at level
So at
4.
level 4,
Arriving at level 3. Arriving at level 2. Arriving at level 1. Arriving at basement level.
okay, so that always drops you down
Arriving at level 2.
1 floor. That always raises you up 2 floors.
Arriving at level 1.
That lowers you.
Arriving at level 3. Arriving at level 5. Arriving at level 7.
Okay. Wait.
Got it.
Shields have failed.
Incoming drop!
Okay, maybe we should have thought about that a little bit. Or done a better job expecting Geth Prime to just decide to run out of the elevator. That would have been good to know. That I would have had to deal with a bigger enemy. Okay. Nope, wait. Get back here. There we go.
No shields.
Going dark.
Heads up! Enemy drone!
Can't do it.
There we go. Second time's the charm.
Arriving at level 6.
Jacob? Oh, there he is.
Please contact facility support. This elevator is not in service. Please choose another. Smoke detected. Please extinguish all cigarettes. Thank you for your facility.
You know, this mission kind of feels like a fun house.
This should
You
come
don't
in
have
handy.
to try.
Decelerator offline. Serious injury may occur.
Although this explains why the VI, like the VI himself, is likely not the one who's angry. Most likely it is David. Why isn't that patch of code showing up? White line at the top, angled. There you go. It's more likely that David is angry. And the VI is just an extension of that.
Get ready. Don't be surprised if this button summons a Reaper.
I noticed the voice acting does not match the subtitle. Interesting. I wonder if that's the VI trying to get into the machinery within Commander Shepard. Okay, that's kind of an interesting turn of events. Oh, hello. Okay, take cover. So when I'm the only person fighting, what does stealth do? Also, I kind of like how the dead bodies in the environment kind of like shift into reality. Like you don't see them.
Time on this project is running out. There are no options left. How to get the Geth's attention?
The robot says hello.
Eureka, David. You're a miracle worker.
Oh, so what was an unintelligible
Square root of 906.01 is 30.1. Square root of 912.04 is 30.2.
is actually the Geth language.
From Thursday's experiment.
Square root of 918.09 is 30.3.
David, please pay attention.
Yeah, pay attention, allow me to use my science to mutilate your body.
Do you mind repeating my notes from Thursday's experiment?
Log 137.3. The experiment yielded no discernible patterns of Geth obedience. End dictation now, David. Hell, the elusive man will have my head for this.
Thank you. And how are you feeling today?
Square root of 924.16 is 30.4. Earplugs would be good.
Yeah, this definitely paints Archer as the villain of this story more than David.
Order the Geth to take a step forward.
Also, how is he doing that with his mouth?
David is a mathematical savant. His autistic mind can interpret the Geth language at its most basic form and mimic their phonetics. With his photographic memory, cross-referencing the meaning as a snap. He's literally a human computer.
And you think he can interface with the Geth's neural network?
I do.
Is that even safe, Doctor?
I see.
No, that's... I see no harm in this. There's definitely no harm in interfacing my brother, or even if it wasn't my brother, a human mind into a alien network. Seems like it would be a-okay. So the issue is not freedom. The issue is stopping the noise from the Geth network. Like, his lashing out against everybody is not his anger at them, but his frustration at the situation he's been placed in, along with his lack of understanding as to what is...
Elevator exceeds maximum weight capacity.
Where is the elevator that I'm calling down? Quick, gotta get this refined palladium. Oh, hello. How are you? And you are right next to me. And you guys are very, very helpless to save your buddy. So basically this is kind of like the Lawnmower Man, actually. Like, wasn't that the plot of the Lawnmower Man? I never actually watched the movie or read the story that it was based on.
We're ready. Open a connection to the Geth network. No! Tell the Geth to stand down!
So yeah, a little bit of the Lawnmower Man, a little bit of Outlast going on. Oh, hold up. That's the armor. So I can take care of that real quick like. There's probably going to be Geth showing up.
It's too late. We've lost control.
Attempting to establish upload link.
Probably here. Alright, let's drain a little bit of armor from this guy. Swap back to that. Okay, so it doesn't seem like I'm actually fighting any guys as much as I'm playing a slightly altered game of Tapper.
Attempting to establish upload link. Connection lost. Connection lost.
So there should be one more. Yeah, it kind of definitely reminds me of Outlast, especially considering the fact that they've got this person who they've been experimenting on, but instead where Outlast, there's more of a, oh, how did, like, how did Archer even consider this as an experiment that was non-invasive?
Wait! Commander! I'm begging you. Don't do anything rash.
I'm not listening.
Rash? Like forcing your own brother into an experiment?
I know how this must look, but I never intended any harm to come to him.
I know this might look absolutely horrible, and he's got tubes going down his mouth, and he's got brain diodes going on.
It all seemed harmless.
And before you knew it, you were running your own private hell.
I had no choice. The demands were incredible. The elusive man doesn't broker failure. Any war we fight with the Geth will be bloody. I was asked to find a way to avoid that.
And you failed.
You've already died for this project.
More souls than will ever forgive me. But I won't apologize for radical ideas. If my work spares 1 million mothers mourning the loss of 1 million sons, my conscience will rest easy.
Look at him. Your brother would never be the same.
The damage may not be permanent. He might recover some semblance of his mind.
So you'll sacrifice your brother's happiness for your own ambition.
Square root of 906.01 equals
30.1.
Does he just like doing the square roots of like the same numbers over and over again?
What I've done to David is unethical. If he dies,
Also, was he expecting to place other people
take care of him.
in the same situation?
Please.
quiet. Please make it stop.
David is coming with me. The project needs him.
I've seen enough of your cruelty to know he'll never be free from it here. I'm taking him away.
No, leave him! He's too valuable!
You even think about coming after your brother and
Yeah,
for you.
his claim that what he's done as being unethical and unforgivable is meaningless considering the first thing he does after being
Grissom
told
Academy.
that
They can help special cases like David. Minus the torture. Joker,
David is going to be
contact the
freed
Academy and let them know
is
we've
to
got
be
someone
like,
who
no,
needs their
I
help.
need him for my project.
The
Like,
elusive
clearly
man
he doesn't
firing
mean
over
anything
my
he's
dead.
saying.
Square root of 912.04 is 30.2. It all seemed harmless. Square root of 912.04 is 30.2. It all seemed harmless.
Grissom Academy, does that show up in the books? I want to say that's where book 3 of the Mass Effect of the novels takes place, but it's been a while. And I believe this actually affects Mass Effect 3, because in Mass Effect 3 you actually do arrive at Grissom Academy. The Rogue VI was successfully shut down, but the test subject was taken to a non-Cerberus facility for care. While this is a considerable setback for Cerberus, Dr. Archer's research will be instrumental in devising a safer approach to controlling the Geth. First step towards a safer approach in controlling the Geth is don't plug people into horrible machines. That would be a good first step. Second step might be controlled environments.
Commander, you've received a new message at your private terminal.
Shepard, I understand you've taken Dr. Archer's brother to Grissom Academy. I'm familiar with their work. It should be a good home for him. I don't condone Dr. Archer's actions, but they did provide a breakthrough we've been sorely lacking thus far. We'll likely never find another individual with David's unique talents. Though your decision is understandable, it has set our efforts to understand the Geth back several years. Oh, so we just lost several years. Okay. Thank you for watching. Questions, comments, recommendations for something to play next? Comment down below or send it on over to itsoundedgoodonpaper@gmail.com. That's itsoundedgoodonpaper@gmail.com. So long for now.